Hi, my name's Shaddy Zayour, and today I'm going to be introducing a technology known as the Cloud Bridge. It's something that we're introducing that's going to be pivotal in helping us deliver our brand new microfocus IAM SaaS platform. So, starting at the end of October and early into November, we've recently released our advanced authentication for multi factor authentication and our identity governance for governance and compliance purposes, and are now making them available through the cloud. Where in the past they have been primarily on-prem, we've expanded them to be able to be deployed via the private cloud. Azure AWS is now supported, and as a part of our SaaS initiative, you can now become a SaaS customer where we manage the solution and the infrastructure, and you can use it just as the on-prem components work today. They work very similarly with full feature parity in the SaaS environments as well. So that's an initiative that we're going through, and we're starting with those two products, but we'll see here through the presentation through 2021 how this technology, the Cloud Bridge, is enabling us to bring our other solutions to our SaaS platform as well. So before we get started, let's talk about a few SaaS challenges that we ran into, or that we've seen in the market rather, that really helped us position ourselves and put together a strategy that allowed us to develop the Cloud Bridge in order to solve some of the challenges we see with customers today and their SaaS environments. So the first is, of course, customers want the convenience of SaaS, right? They don't want to manage infrastructure anymore. They don't want to manage the software. What they do want to do is be able to purchase or enroll in the SaaS tenant, integrate with on-prem, and get rolling. However, what we typically see is that SaaS is not the reality. Total SaaS is not the reality, I should say. Hybrid environments are really where a lot of customers are going to find themselves. So what that really means is that although your governance solution or your IAM solution, any of the ones that you may be already enrolled in today or looking to enroll in the future, a lot of your on-prem applications will not be SaaS ready for some time, or they will never be SaaS ready. You have a ton of legacy applications. So with that being said, we need to find a way to integrate between on-premise and the cloud. Which leads us to the next question, right? How do you solve that problem, integrating on-prem to cloud? And what we really see with a lot of our competitors is that they're either doing a few different methods. They're doing CSV file transfers with SFTP between on-prem and cloud. Now, a lot of customers are promised full integration, and then when it comes to implementation and getting the SaaS environment running, they run into or experience that CSV is really the integration that our competitors were talking about. And that's more of a manual process and not really true event-driven integration, which is where we want to go. The next that we see often is site-to-site VPN. Now, this is a method that works. We've seen it with our other SaaS competitors. However, what this can lead to eventually, and usually does lead to, is firewall complexities, because you have to configure a bunch of holes in the firewall between your on-prem applications and the cloud tenant, and really managing that over time. And if you need to introduce new applications to the environment, right, you have to involve the firewall team or whoever can help you configure that. And it really starts to become a hassle over time, which is what we want to avoid, of course, when we move to a SaaS environment. So queuing up or introducing the Cloud Bridge, it's a technology that we've introduced, and it's a singular communication bridge for all of our SaaS solutions that we'll be releasing in the IAM portfolio. So you can think of it as a singular channel that allows communication between on-prem and cloud. And the way that you deploy this is via a Docker container for the agent that lives on your on-premise server. And all this server needs to be able to do is communicate with your other servers or other applications in the environment, and allow communication outbound to the SaaS environment. And what's really unique about this is that there's no special rules needed when you're configuring the Cloud Bridge agent to communicate with the SaaS tenant. Now, this is really going to help you avoid the scenario where you have to configure site-to-site VPN and you need to configure a bunch of holes in the firewall. We just went through a very successful POC with a customer that was evaluating our competitors, and one of the comments that we received is getting the environment up and running was extremely quick. In under an hour, we were having communication between on-prem and cloud, just as if the entire solution stack was on-prem. So it really felt like there was very cohesiveness between the entire solution. So let's take a look at what the architecture looks like. So this is a screenshot or high-level architecture of what our current SaaS platform looks like. And we can see here that there's two components currently, one being advanced authentication and another being the identity governance stack. So what this is allowing you to do is, one, you have the cloud bridge that allows bidirectional communication between on-premise and cloud. The advanced authentication for multi-factor, but it's handling the authentication between your on-prem users and the cloud tenant. And then you have your identity governance here. So all communication going through this singular cloud bridge. You have all the convenience of standing up the agent, a singular channel. So if there are any issues to resolve or connection to be monitored, it's all done via a singular location. So you don't have to worry about having to do it on a per application basis or anything like that. So the only thing that's different between our on-premise and our cloud offering is that when you're configuring, for example, an identity provider in the advanced auth side or an application to govern on the identity governance side, you select that you want to go through the cloud bridge. That way you can connect to the on-premise application. But the rest of the setup is exactly the same as if these solutions were on-prem. And that's really something that we're committed to here at Micro Focus. We want to have full feature parity between our SaaS offerings and our on-prem offerings. So that way, as customers go through their digital transformation, they don't have to pick and choose the different features and capabilities that they can use that they may already be using today. So to take a little bit deeper of a look at this, let's look at the deployment and maintenance. So on-premise, which is all of this beneath the firewall here, is really done in a few components here. So utilizing Docker allows us to very easily deploy the cloud bridge. So utilizing a few Docker containers, all you do is deploy the cloud bridge, and there's a few supporting configuration files that you would configure. One is the data center JSON file, and another is a Docker Compose YAML file. And really all these are doing is allowing you to establish a connection between your cloud bridge agent and the SaaS environment up in the cloud. So as we saw before with those two products currently being advanced authentication and identity governance, they'll each have a unique identifier and a unique password credential set in order to deploy and maintain that connection. So very easy to configure. It's just a unique ID and credential set in order to establish connection. So deploying the container, then configuring the connection to SaaS, all done via just a unique ID and credential set imported into the config on-prem. And that's all that's really needed to get the connection up and running. In the cloud, once you've configured your Cloud Bridge agent, your on-premise applications and data stores will show up as data centers in the SaaS environment. So you'll see that the Cloud Bridge environment or the Cloud Bridge itself will be displayed as a data center in the SaaS environment. And what that really is a logical representation of your connection. And and from there, you can connect your on-prem applications just as if you're within the same firewall, within the same network. So really straightforward, really easy to get up and running. And all that's required for updates is to bring down the old container for the Cloud Bridge here and deploy the new. These configuration files are consistent. They're contained outside of the container itself. So when you deploy the new agent, they'll reference these configuration files that were already there and that you already did. And you'll be able to move forward with the latest agent install and realize all the greatest benefits there. And that's one of the benefits to running a Dockerized or containerized technology is that you can update the services or the microservices here and keep the configuration consistent. And it's really transparent to the end user. All they're doing is bringing up and down this agent here. So it's a really excellent way to roll out updates. We're doing that with the Cloud Bridge currently. We're rolling out containers and microservices across the IAM stack. And that's what's supporting our SaaS environments. So in conclusion, Micro Focus IAM SaaS is committed to providing full feature parity between SaaS and on-prem solutions, so customers don't have to choose between, what makes sense for them, SaaS versus on-prem. All they'll need to choose is, do they want to manage the infrastructure and software, or do they want to have that be as part of our cloud team and have ourselves manage that, and you just realize all the great benefits of our technology. It's currently starting with advanced authentication and identity governance, as I mentioned before, but it's quickly expanding over 2021. We'll be bringing in Identity Manager as well for full lifecycle automation, attribute synchronization, all through our event-driven technology. We'll also be releasing Access Manager for Federation and SSO, which also includes its risk service, where we're able to now include behavior intelligence to analyze users' risk and change the access experience altogether for them. What we're also bringing is Secure API Manager to control APIs, monitor who's calling what, and really allowing you full capabilities around managing your APIs, as well as password management, which will be embedded into things like Identity Manager and so on to allow users to self-service themselves in the event that they forget their password and so on. So really starting with the technologies that we've already done, advanced authentication and identity governance, the Cloud Bridge has already proven pivotal in allowing us to transition customers between cloud or between on-prem and cloud. And we're very excited to see how we can expand this over the course of 2021. If you have any additional questions, please feel free to reach out to your sales rep, and we'll be happy to put together a deeper dive on the Cloud Bridge and our SaaS environment. Thanks so much.